So leadership styles is one of the two leadership points that round out the Unit 4 syllabus. The key word here is adapting. So it is adapting the style to suit the variety of cultural settings which global businesses operate in. So I cannot emphasize that point enough, that the examiner's report consistently points out that students do not show how the style should and could and why it needs to be adapted. They simply just regurgitate the actual content of each style, be it autocratic, participative, or situational. But again, that is not the intent of the questions asked. It is about adapting that style in a cross-cultural setting. So adapting leadership styles is crucial for global business when operating around the world, because different cultures have different expectations, different etiquettes about how to interact with each other, about meetings, about standards of dress, about overall customs. So just having a one-size-fits-all leadership model is potentially not the most productive and effective. It may cause offence, it may limit opportunities in new markets, so therefore adapting styles to suit the needs of the markets that you operate in will absolutely improve efficiency and your relationship with key stakeholders. So depending on which style the leader operates with, a consideration of the culture and how that style might be adapted is essential in global business. So it is sometimes relevant just to make sure that we understand what an autocratic leader is, and you should know that it is one who makes decisions alone and there is one-way communication. In this slide you can see that how that traditional autocratic leadership model might cause offence and might not be the right one when business workers do not get an opportunity to contribute ideas that can cause resistance, when one-way communication actually limits productivity because of the inability or the staff attitude and that feeling from staff that they may not have a say, which can cause resentment and make the boss look like a bit of a dictator. And innovation comes from communication, and if the boss is telling everyone simply what to do, then it may limit opportunities for growth, which are simply not going to come up because people don't get that opportunity to have their say. So why would an autocratic leader need to adapt? Well, it's to gain from that two-way communication. So again, in a cross-cultural setting, if the boss is telling everyone what to do, he or she may miss out on the background from people from that culture who might have really sound and beneficial insights into the way things happen in that culture. And it's really just to encourage a better culture within the business, because people want to be felt like they matter, and simply telling people what to do is not inclusive, and it may reduce staff turnover if the autocratic leader does take on board the views of others. So taking feedback is a great way to adapt the style. Really it's becoming more participative in nature, and providing the group with feedback and providing the leader with feedback really empowers staff and potentially improves motivation and building relationships, which is absolutely key if a business is expanding into new settings, because it's unknown and you really want to make sure that you create a culture where everyone is accepted, because that can lead to quick improvements in productivity and hopefully potentially innovative ideas coming out of that new opportunity for the business. So participative leaders are really the opposite, where they absolutely involve everyone in the planning and decision-making process, where ideas and feedback for staff are really relevant. It does increase motivation and involvement, and really everyone has an opportunity to take ownership of all sorts or all aspects of the business, troubleshoot problems, organize resources, be involved. Sometimes participative, I guess the greatest disadvantage of this model is that when you're forever meeting with people, nothing gets done. So sometimes it's good just to be told what to do and get on with it. Participative, sometimes, whilst it is great that everyone is involved, it does actually use up time and resources. So adapting the participative style is necessary, I suppose, to a more autocratic style when, sometimes it needs to be more efficient and quick, because centralizing decision making can be more productive, especially in a new setting where the leader in that setting might have the experience in running the business with a whole bunch of new staff, and they rely actually on that leader simply to use their experience and knowledge to get things done. It also, if the leader sort of uses a more autocratic method, this may overcome communication breakdowns, because the leader can potentially, if they are a skilled communicator, simply weave through the problems and create a solution. It does show also, by adapting to a more autocratic model, that senior management are accountable for the decisions being made. And again, the participative style might work better in cultures which are used to a more hierarchical structure, where the leader is expected to be accountable and show responsibility in their actions. So situational is arguably, the best method of leadership in a cross-cultural setting, because it allows the leader to use the most appropriate style of leadership depending on the situation. So as all cultures are different, situational leader absolutely has an opportunity to analyze the situation, to use their knowledge of the particular culture and apply the right method, which gives the greatest benefit to the business. Generally, situational leaders are pretty cluey in terms of, the trait here would be socially aware, and they're excellent communicators, and in their toolkit of leadership, they have a range of strategies to address conflict when it arises and overcome resistance to change, be that through either autocratic or participative methods. So the situational leader will adapt all the time in a cross-cultural setting, because we know that cultures are different. Some might be more participative in their nature, meaning that that's the traits and style that the leader will adapt. Whereas some cultures are far more formal in terms of their etiquette and communication protocols. Used in the previous slide, there was some cultures are still quite hierarchical, and that the situational leader would be more autocratic in those situations, because that is the expectation. So yeah, it is, in a cross-cultural setting, arguably the most effective of leadership styles, because it is so adaptable to the cultural needs. However, really it depends on the ability of the leader to make it work. So this was in last year's exam, and it wasn't necessarily done very well. It was in the short answer section, so the word discuss is a higher order verb, I would argue, than explain, because you need to go into a little bit more detail about, in this case, autocratic leadership and how it can be adapted. So the word discuss means to identify issues, and also points for and against. So when reading through the model answer there, absolutely we always start with definition. And we've already, in the second sentence there, you can see that in a cross-cultural setting, the autocratic leadership style may be problematic because it may not be the normal decision-making process. That's in many cultures, many Western cultures, that's, being more participative and involving everyone is the most recognized model, and that being autocratic might cause communication breakdowns. So leaders need to adapt that style to be more respectful of cultural difference. They should need to show cultural sensitivity and create a culture where employees feel comfortable in expressing their opinions and concerns, because that may lead to greater productivity in the long run. So really, again, a autocratic leader should adapt this style in a cross-cultural setting where necessary, because I think the example down there in the bottom is European cultures, for example. Some European cultures really value the collective, and that having that input allows the leader to build relationships and to value the backgrounds, showing empathy in their interactions. So you can see the length of the answer. Discuss means you've really got to go into detail and have a good think about how both it can be a positive thing for adaptation of the style in a cross-cultural setting. Okay, so that's leadership styles.